Now, from West Africa, we head to the southern part of the continent, where the Democratic Alliance says it has noted that former President Jacob Zuma has extended his stay in Russia. This is seemingly in anticipation of an outstanding announcement from the Department of Correctional Services as to whether former President Zuma must return to prison to serve out the remainder of his sentence. This follows last week's Constitutional Court ruling, which dismissed the Department of Correctional Services application for leave to appeal the Supreme Court of Appeals ruling that Zuma must return to prison as his early release on medical parole was unlawful. Meanwhile, the Democratic Alliance says there is an urgent need for Jacob Zuma to return to jail after he was found to have been guilty in contempt of the Constitutional Court. Now, join us live on the program is Shadow Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development and also Member of Parliament, Advocate Glynnis Breytenbach. Thank you for very much joining us on the news.
Good evening. Thank you.
Now, what's your party's specific, the DA specific concern with regards to former President Jacob Zuma's medical checkup in Russia?
Well, as you correctly set out, the Supreme Court of Appeal found that that his release on parole was unlawful. South Africa is a constitutional democracy. We believe in the rule of law. Everybody in South Africa is equal before the law, and the law applies equally to everybody. So if he was released on parole and that was unlawful, then of course he must now return to prison. The Constitutional Court has dismissed the application for leave to appeal. So the Commissioner of Police, Mr. Tobachale, must now make a decision. Either President Zuma must return to prison and serve out the rest of his sentence, or he must, or Mr. Tobachale must decide that he has served sufficient of his sentence and that he doesn't need to return. And whatever his decision is, we're going to keep a very keen eye on it to make sure that his decision is based in law and is a rational decision. Otherwise, we'll be forced to challenge that as well. But, you know, President Zuma is now in Russia. I'm not sure that he's supposed to be there. We've asked for the record of decision releasing him on parole and what the conditions were, and we have not yet received it. But he's in Russia, and now he's coincidentally and conveniently extended his stay in Russia, awaiting this decision of whether he must return to prison or not. So, you know, we're watching this situation very carefully, and we're awaiting the decision of Mr. Tobachale.
Now, Ms. Breytenbach, the former president is in Russia on medical reasons, and you don't seem to be happy with the fact that he's extended his stay. Now, how does the Democratic Alliance respond to the argument that denying medical treatment or intervention could be viewed as a violation of former President Jacob Zuma's human rights or constitutional rights?
Well, he's in Russia ostensibly for medical treatment. At some point, he must return. So we're not suggesting that he should be denied medical treatment, and we're not suggesting that his human rights should be violated. The contrary, South African prisons have excellent medical facilities, and particularly the prison in which Mr. Zuma was serving his sentence in the Estcourt Correctional Services Center. There's excellent medical attention available, and of course we would want Mr. Zuma to receive excellent medical attention whenever he needs it.
Now, Ms. Breytenbach, before I let you go, the last time former President Zuma was imprisoned, we did see what happened with the unrest and riots in KwaZulu-Natal. How do you suggest the South African security police services and security agencies handle any potential political fallout or unrest that could arise from forcing Zuma's return to prison during a time of considerable social and political tension in the country? We've also seen what's been happening with the burning of trucks in your country.
Of course, there's that danger. We did have the very unfortunate insurrection in 2021. It was extremely disruptive. Many people lost their lives. Many people lost their livelihoods. We certainly wouldn't want to see a repeat of it. But being, forewarned is forearmed. We've seen what happened before. The South African police are charged with keeping public order in South Africa and ensuring that everybody remains within the boundaries of the law. So they must step up and do their job. They know what to expect now. They can't be taken by surprise. And that can't be a reason for somebody to not return to prison. That's nothing short of blackmail, and it can't be countenanced.
Thank you so much for your time and insights, Advocate Glynnis Breytenbach, for joining us on the news. Do appreciate your contribution. Thank you.
Thank you.